Make no mistake about it. Arsenal are serious contenders to win the Champions League this season. It is a terrifying prospect, but it is one that is drenched in reality. I am genuinely concerned. I am truly worried, and I am already this season, after only 3 games in the Champions League, having to rationalise the prospect of Arsenal actually winning top-tier European silverware. It isn't something that I've really believed were possible for the vast majority of my life. But last year, Mikel Arteta made that impossible a reality. I actually believe that they were going to do it, and he has continued in that vein. It's terrifying because it does feel like there is some sense of inevitability about Arsenal ultimately getting over the line in a competition that has been so elusive to them. And I hate the prospect of it. It is such a terrifying prospect. But when you look at what he's done, and you know what? In this video, I'm going to focus on the events of yesterday, on the events of Atletico Madrid. But at the end of this video, I am going to talk in detail about Mikel Arteta. But just look at what his team did. Just look at what his team did to Diego Simeone's side. Diego Simeone is undoubtedly one of the most resilient managers in the world. Diego Simeone's team is undoubtedly one of the most resilient teams in the world. And that team have just been blitzkrieged. That team have just been blown away. That team have just been blown apart. That team have just been run through at such a high tempo that they didn't even know what day it was. Arteta educated Diego Simeone. Can you hear those words? Listen to those words, let them resonate, and let them actually process. Think about what that means. Mikel Arteta is educating Diego Simeone. Diego Simeone is one of the most educated managers in the game. Diego Simeone, one of the most wily, one of the most crafty, one of the most experienced. And yet, Mikel Arteta has the ability to teach him a thing or two. He has the ability to surprise him. He has the ability to unravel his plans. He has the ability to truly show him up. And that is what Mikel Arteta is now capable of. It is truly amazing. But just look at what Arsenal were doing in Europe. Everything that I've said about their deficiencies in continental competitions has been true up until this point. But Arteta has eroded it all. Look at it. 3 wins out of 3. Easy. 3 clean sheets. 8 goals scored, and only very, very rarely does anyone look like threatening them. Like there's this major conversation about Arsenal actually conceding a shot on target. Sack Arteta! Arteta out! They've conceded, not a goal, a mere shot on target. I mean, 4 goals in 13 second half minutes. Declan Rice, the creation, the vision, the ability. He is just sublime. The dead ball. You know, when we talk about Arsenal being brilliant at set pieces, and they deserve credit for it, and I don't understand why it's ever said in a sneery way. Being excellent at set pieces, making the most of your physicality is something to be very proud of. But the reason that it works, the genesis of all of that brilliance, the genesis of all of Nico Jova's brilliant work, stems from the sublime dead ball ability of Declan Rice. And that is what they are now capable of. And the fact that it is now newsworthy that they have conceded a shot on target demonstrates quite what a good side they are. And they seem to have it all. You know, when you think about brilliant teams invariably have 2 great characteristics. The 2 characteristics are as follows. You need both. You can't be just one or the other. The 2 ways that you can play football are you can play an expansive game, a beautiful game, and you can hopefully out-football the opposition. The other way is you can be a brutal team, a physical team, an aggressive team, and you can hope to win the game via force. If you have both of those properties, you become an amazing team. The reason why Chelsea was so successful under Mourinho was partly because of the true brilliance of Arjen Robben, the craft and the guile of Damien Duff. But it was also the physicality of Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, John Terry, Petr Cech. It was also the fact that if you wanted to try and bully our more creative players, our more physical players will beat you up. If you want to play an expansive game of football, that's also fine, by the way. We can do that. We've got Ida Johnson on the pitch. If you really want to play us at football and craft and guile and silk, we can play that game. But we'll have a fight with you as well. And I feel like Arsenal have mastered those 2 properties because they have beautiful footballers. Of course they do. They can go head-to-head with anyone and play an expansive game of football. Zubimendi flicking it up the way that he did there to lay it was amazing. Declan Rice is one of the most natural footballers on the ball in his position in the world. Bukayo Saka, a dream on the ball. You know, Calafiori, an artist. Like, they have beautiful footballers. But do you want a straightener with Declan Rice? Probably not. Do you want a straightener with Gabriel? Probably not. Do you want a straightener with Saliba? Probably not. Do you want a straightener with Gyokeres? Probably not. So they can do both. And it's like they're a really polished, sexy version of the crazy game. I mean this in the most complimentary way. I think I saw it written on Twitter that there is an almost a parallel to be drawn between the way that Wimbledon was so effective and what Arsenal were doing now. And I do mean it in the most complimentary way. They can be direct, can't they? It's set pieces, it's long throw-ins, it's an old-fashioned big number 9. It's all of those properties that served the 1988 Wimbledon team so well. Rory Sanchez, John Fashanu, Dennis Wise. They were in your face, they were direct, and they were successful. This Arsenal team are in your face, they're direct, and they're successful. Of course, the similarities end. But I did think that it was an interesting way of looking at it. But the result against Atletico Madrid, it's those kind of statement results, isn't it? It's the kind of result that will echo across Europe. It will reverberate across Europe. Everybody will be aware of it. Like very recently in La Liga, you have seen Atletico Madrid batter Real Madrid. Like I had them on in the pub. I saw Julian Alvarez score a hat-trick. Rayo Vallecano, I think. Like they're a good side. And yet it's not going as well, but they're still 4th in La Liga. So any Spanish football fan now is going to be looking at that game going, whoa, what is Mikel Arteta up to? You know, they've very recently seen Mikel Arteta's team blow Real Madrid away, home and away. They've very recently seen that. And I think Arsenal's record against Spanish opposition now is amazing. I think it's unbeaten in 7 or 8 games. And there is this ruthless efficiency in the way that Arsenal are doing their business. Like, I think they only had 8 shots on goal, four goals. You have 50% possession at home in Europe. But there is a devastating efficiency to it. And, you know, a 4-0 win like that, it's a demolition. And it shows you what they are capable of doing. Technical ability, physical power. They really do have it all. And there was a versatility to them. Like, I think Mikel Arteta deserves so much credit. And I did mention that I'm going to speak about him, and I'm going to do it at the end of this video. Because I don't want it to intrude on the body of the video, which is about Arsenal's brilliance against Atletico Madrid. But so much credit belongs with Mikel Arteta. You know, it wasn't necessarily going his way, and they were struggling to break through. For an hour, they were struggling to break through the Atletico Madrid defence. But they found their way. They found a way to do it, and they did it through genuine craft, genuine training ground perfection. That's what they're about. You know, when you see Miles Lewis-Skelly picking up the ball, driving through the heart of the Atletico Madrid defence, it shows you what they are about. And can you imagine Diego Simeone watching that? Like Diego Simeone, if you think about the way that he plays the game, the way that he views the game, his principles in football, he would be looking at that Arsenal team with genuine admiration and jealousy. Genuine admiration of what Mikel Arteta has built, but also jealousy, because he will love that midfield. He will be fantasising about that defence. It's exactly the kind of manager that would totally appreciate everything that Arsenal are building. And it's all you can really say is how magnificent it is that Arsenal, from an Arsenal perspective, blew them away. And the way that they did it. Precision passing, physicality, ugly goals as well. That's something that we need to talk about. Viktor Gyokeres. I mean, again, I've seen this sort of mentioned in a snide way, in a derogatory way. Viktor Gyokeres scoring ugly goals, bobbly goals, unfashionable goals, unsexy goals, is exactly what Arsenal fans should be over the moon about. It's the dream for Arsenal. They don't want to see more tiki-taka goals, Santi Cazorla brilliance. They don't. Somebody, a battering ram footballer who forces the ball into the back of the net. Like one of the goals, it was basically a tackle that ended up in the back of the net. If you're an Arsenal fan, you're going to thank God for that. Absolutely what we need. It's exactly the perfect recipe for Arsenal because they have enough of the beautiful. They've seen it for years. Players like Eduardo, players like Santi Cazorla, players like Jack Wilshere that ultimately led them to very little. This battering ram of a centre forward is exactly what the doctor ordered. Scrappy finishes. Arsene Wenger spoke, didn't he, about Francis Jeffers decades ago now, talking about the need for a fox in the box. Viktor Gyokeres is that, and that sort of player can be worth his weight in gold. Scoring goals that won't live long in the memory can have huge ramifications. Do you know the player for this? Think about Inzaghi. Think about what Inzaghi did in a Champions League final against Liverpool. He scored 2 goals to win his team the European Cup in Athens. Do you know the combined total of yards out? Both goals. Both goals were scored from a combined total of less than 5 yards out. One was scored from 2 yards, one was scored from 2.5 yards. That's how far. Like, nobody needs to thunder one in. You don't need to score a Paul Scholes rocket at Bradford Valley Parade, witnessing a goal scored, bang off the bar. Tony Yeboah, you don't need to do that. You don't need to be Frank Lampard taking it on your chest, banging it past Oliver Kahn. Pippo Inzaghi, man. Both goals from less than 5 yards combined. Wins Milan a European Cup. Beats Liverpool in a European final. That is exactly what Arsenal need. It is exactly what they want. And he's not a very good footballer, Gyokeres. Don't clip that. I know what people are like. Allow me to demonstrate the point. He's not a good footballer in the way that Zubimendi is a good footballer, or in the way that Martinelli is a good footballer, but he is an effective footballer. And it could be exactly what Arsenal need. He doesn't have the silk of a Kai Havertz. He doesn't have the prestige of a Kai Havertz. But it's a different option. And I think that it could be exactly what they need. He's not slick, but they don't really need more slick footballers, do they? They just need somebody who can stick the ball in the back of the net, quite often in an ugly way. And he can most certainly do that. They have enough. You know, Zubimendi flicking it up, Rice dropping a shoulder, Saka carrying the ball. And he's not that at all, but he's not supposed to be that. He is exactly what Arsenal were lacking. And if you think about the goals that he scored yesterday, if those goals can be replicated on a regular basis, it's going to be so difficult to stop Arsenal, because invariably they're going to score from a set piece, and they should be very proud about that fact. Invariably, Martinelli, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka are going to do something magical, so they can rely on that. Where they struggled is the low block, somebody to just prod it home, and this could be his role. But ultimately for Arsenal, it was like the moments, that Lewis Skelly picking the ball up and driving through to set up Martinelli, finishing with his weaker foot. You know, he is the sort of epitome of that Arsenal power. He bursts through, but beat about 3 players, brushing players aside and then setting up Martinelli. Zubimendi, just like the brains behind it all. And it really is worrying, because I think now that there is genuinely a world where they are going to do it. With a player like Zubimendi, who is, you know, producing these performances of the highest quality. Like, he's been Arsenal's best midfielder. He's arguably been Arsenal's best player. I mean, I would say Timber deserves a mention here, but in terms of the midfielders, I think Zubimendi has been that. He's the architect, the conductor of the orchestra. Such a brilliant player, so experienced, and so suited to this competition. So now we have to start talking about Arsenal potentially winning a Champions League. Earlier in my prediction, I just didn't think it was possible. Arsenal have taught us over the years that it's not possible. We've seen them falter in Europe. We've seen brilliant Arsenal teams falter in Europe. We've seen Arsenal go from positions where they should be winning European Cups to throwing it away. And for one reason or another, Arsenal's record, despite being a huge club, despite having an amazing track record of securing silverware, they do have a pitiful record in Europe. But something has changed. And I think that something is Mikel Arteta. I think Mikel Arteta deserves so much credit here. He has somehow found a way to make Arsenal a force, both domestically and on a continental stage. And I just don't think that we are acknowledging quite his contribution enough. Like, I don't want to get into a thing. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. And I will always defer to Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans know far more about their club than I ever could. But I do see people maybe questioning Arteta. You know, people on YouTube, people in the media questioning Mikel Arteta. Arsenal fans, devoted, lifelong Arsenal fans, questioning Mikel Arteta, suggesting that he should go, speaking about him in quite a derogatory, in a derogatory way. And it just doesn't chime with the way that I see the situation. Now, like I say, I will always say that Arsenal fans know their club more than me. Their opinion is, on some level, more valid. But from the outside looking in, the only conversation I can really have about Arteta is he has turned me from being very dismissive of Arsenal winning in Europe, laughing at the prospect of Arsenal winning in Europe, having bets with so many Arsenal fans, multiple bets, that Arsenal will not win in Europe, and winning those bets. I, one man, had 10 simultaneous bets with various Arsenal fans, knowing that I would collect off all of them. If I lost, I would have to pay out a fortune, but I knew I would win. I am not having that bet this season. Last year, I thought they were going to do it. Last year, I genuinely believed that they were going to win the European Cup. When they beat Real Madrid home and away, I felt like it was going to happen. And now, I feel like they're even more likely than that. There is some sort of inevitability about them knocking on the door. And we've seen a template for this. When Chelsea won a European Cup for the first time, we got there by losing a final, perennially getting to semi-finals. I think we got to what? 4 semi-finals in 6 years? 4 semi-finals in 7 years? Something like that? Constantly knocking on the door, constantly beating the best, constantly making statements, constantly having big results, going away to Lazio when they were brilliant and winning 4-0. In the way that Arsenal were doing that, you go and you make those European statements, you have some heartache along the way, and ultimately you get your reward. Think about Man City. Man City getting there nearly, some bad results in Europe. They lose a final to us, in fact, and then bang, they get there. And I just got a terrible feeling that Arsenal are sort of on the same journey. So anyone discrediting or being snide or sneery towards Mikel Arteta, it's one of those things in football that my brain just doesn't rationalise. I can't quite understand it. You know, most things, even if I disagree with you on football, if you think Harry Kane's better than Haaland and I think that, but you think Haaland's better than Kane, even if I disagree with your opinion, I can understand it. If you think Jack Grealish should start for England, and I think that actually as well, but I can understand your opinion even if it doesn't necessarily chime with the way I see the situation. If you aren't totally behind Mikel Arteta's project and you're an Arsenal fan, it just baffles me. But you live and you learn, and that's the beauty of football, right? Thank you so much for watching this video. It's not been fun. It's not been enjoyable, but I believe it's wholly accurate. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you've enjoyed it, please do me the honour of clicking subscribe. I would love to welcome you into this community. Please give it a like, give it some hype points. No one knows what they do, but apparently they help me out. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be in the comments the second this goes live. In a bit, yo.